spoilers for T1 versus TES if you haven't seen that match yet. Folks, I didn't want to make this video, so I really wanted to make this video just to run down super fast what T1's history actually is. And people are going to say, why are you so obsessed with this top esports victory over T1? Why are you so mad? Just deal with it. I'm not obsessed. Don't look at those 29 tabs. They have to do with something else. And I'm not mad. Jeez, the pencil is strong. But I did want to calmly explain to people what T1's past record actually is. So super quick. So two claims have been flying around. One is that T1 doesn't lose to LPL teams in best of 5 series at Worlds. And the second is that T1 always makes it to semifinals at Worlds. Now, first we have to say, what do you mean when you say T1? Because this roster with Keria, Gumayusi, Owner Zeus has only existed since 2021. Before 2021, it was a completely different roster. All there was is Faker. But what about the coaching staff? The infrastructure is all the same. The coaches were different. Roach and Tom have only been the coaches since 2022. Before that were different coaches. Where's the magic supposed to be here? In the name, T1 is supposed to instill fear in the hearts of their opponent. So if we're talking about this T1 roster, we can say that 3 years in a row, 2021, 2022, 2023, they made it to at least semifinals, got semifinals, then got finals, then got champions. At Worlds 2021, this roster lost to EDG and Fnatic, so LPL and Europe, but those were best of ones. In 2024, they lost to Top Esports in the best of one, so the statistic has to be amended. Well, T1 doesn't lose to LPL teams in best of 3 or best of 5. And then you say, what about MSIs? Why are we excluding MSI? MSI 2022, they lose to RNG, LPL. 2023, they lose to JDG and BLG, 2 LPL teams. And 2024, they lose to BLG twice, who's an LPL team. So then they had to append the statistic. Okay, T1 doesn't lose to LPL teams in best of 3 or best of 5 at Worlds. It's like, we're clearly just cherry picking the data at this point. If we are looking at just Worlds, 2021, they didn't even play any LPL teams. 2022, they beat 2 LPL teams. And 2023, they beat 3 LPL teams. And they won the whole thing. So, of course, they're going to beat everyone. They happen to face 3 LPL teams. So, counting MSIs, they're 5-5 against LPL teams in best of 5 series. But it is technically valid to say that this T1 roster did make it to semifinals in Worlds 3 times in a row, and they have not lost to an LPL in a best of 5 at Worlds in those 3 years. Technically, that's true. Now, what about this 8 times in a row T1 has made it to semifinals? Well, that's also pretty misleading, because if we go back to 2020, before this current roster existed, when it was all different players, different coaches, they didn't even make it to Worlds in 2020. They didn't make it to Worlds in 2018, and they didn't make it to Worlds in 2014. So the stat is technically every time T1 gets to Worlds, they make it to at least semifinals. Again, T1 being literally just Faker, no other relation to other versions of T1. Which is like someone saying he won the gold medal 8 times in a row. Oh, except all the years where he didn't even make it to the Olympics. Like, it's just a weird way to phrase a statistic. And then what happened to Faker in 2019? They lost in a best of 5 to G2. So apparently Faker has the magical power that he can never lose to an LPL team in a best of 5 at Worlds if he makes it to Worlds. But he has no such magical power against European teams losing to G2 in a best of 5 in 2019. The whole thing is just unbelievably cherry-picked and ridiculous. And so the obvious question is, okay, well then Sizable Brain, why do they always make it to semifinals if not that they have quarterfinals magic? And the answer is like, because that is what is statistically likely if a team is really good, that they're probably going to make it to semifinals most of the time if they're one of the 4 best teams in the world. If you just say T1 is usually a world-class team, that's usually about top 4 in the world with no particular advantage towards LPL teams, literally all of their statistics make perfect sense and are totally reasonable. So this like whole T1 doesn't lose to LPL thing, which falls apart every MSI, is just totally unnecessary to explain the actual phenomena which we see, right? So I'm agreeing that T1 is awesome. The team is awesome. They're usually world class. Faker's the GOAT. But to think that they have some unique statistical advantage in the quarterfinals at Worlds, or to think that they have some unique advantage against LPL teams at Worlds is crazy. Like why? What is it about the combination of Worlds and LPL where they can't beat LPL teams at MSI and they can lose to anyone, including Europeans at Worlds, but you think when you perfectly combine those two ingredients, LPL at Worlds, then they'll always win? It just doesn't make any sense. If you take away T1's quarterfinal superpower and you take away their LPL superpower, then there was every reason to believe that TES would be a favorite in that match, considering they had been playing better than T1 all year. I honestly just wanted the community to kind of know what the actual facts are, because there's a lot of like lie-ish kind of statistics that get thrown around about how strong T1 is that don't really tell the whole story, which is that they're a great team, but lots of losses here, losses to Europe, losses to LPL, bad records in MSI. You know, they're not this superhuman team with all of these magical quarterfinals abilities and stuff. They're just a fantastic League of Legends team. Hopefully I shed some light on that situation. Let me know what you think in the comments, and subscribe if you love the content. I will see you all next time.